Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Universe 6 Extreme Super Battle Road stage that is currently out on Dbz Dokkan Battle Global. And this is the very first, or I want to say this is the first Extreme Super Battle Road stage we've received in a while. So basically the premise for this, or the team build for this, is to essentially rely on the AoE stunning of Tech Hit and to just kind of eliminate a unit with him every single turn, and then essentially have the rest of our units provide control and also damage, which I guess is the general strategy for every Super Battle Road or Extreme Super Battle Road stage. But yes, essentially Tech Hit is a fantastic unit. One, he does huge damage, and two, he has the chance, if all allies in the same turn are part of the Universe 6 category, to stun all of the enemies at the start of turn. Now it's only a one turn stun, but it's still incredibly helpful because it will trigger his full passive, which will increase his damage and enable him to essentially completely remove an enemy, which is obviously very good. So you will see me use a Ghost Usher just to obviously take out one of the enemies and to just see if we could trigger the stuns, to trigger the stun setups. In this rotation here, you can kind of see basically that we're trying to see if we can prevent Kaba from getting supered at any point in time, or if I need to gamble on him getting supered at any point in time. So I'm just trying to arrange the attacks accordingly there. Now, of course, the one good thing about Tech Hit is after he fires his super attack, his defense is incredibly high. It can be quite high, in the 300s, 400s range, which is obviously very good. Hit himself also, you want to generally build into a additional kind of build, because if he can get the stun off on his first attack, then that means generally speaking he'll have a pretty good chance to follow up, and then with the second attack have attack effective against all types and also have increased damage. Now the rest of the team is pretty interesting. We have gone for Kaba, who's a pretty useful unit, has great defense after super. He's a free play unit and he's going to help out quite a bit. We've then also gone for the Kefla. Kefla is pretty good, the physical one. She creates orbs, which is why she's there, but she also does some pretty good damage, which is something that's obviously very helpful. So Hit's got his AoE stun this turn. As you can see, everyone is stunned. This is great because it means we don't have to use an item, even though we did use one last turn. Obviously preferably it would have occurred when we didn't use an item, but we're going to use Hit now to take out a N-type unit. Because of his attacks effective against all types, we're going to use these moments for him to essentially take out the unit that targets most of our team's weakness, that being tech type units, which we obviously have Kaba and we have 2 hits, so we do have a decent amount. Caulifla as well is also tech type, so taking out the end units does help us traditionally quite well. Now everything's set up here, we look a little bit better. No item active, but Hit will be fine to tank normals. He also has a chance to get his stun. The strength Kale and tech Caulifla combo is usually a rotation you run, but the reason why I'm not running them necessarily as one set rotation is because, again, the AoE stunning capability of Hit on each rotation is far more valuable than having a rotation that's as defensively sound as Caulifla and Kale. So ideally you really do want to actually kind of have Hit on each rotation, because that AoE stunning is really going to help you out. But of course Kale and Caulifla are still very strong. We try to have them link up together. Ideally I would probably exchange strength Kale out. She's really not as useful without having a Caulifla in the rotation as Caulifla is, because Caulifla's evasion is dependent on how many Pepe Gals or how many Universe 6 units are on the team, whereas Kale, on the other hand, needs Caulifla to have her guard mechanic. So if you are looking at replacing any of the units, then I would say consider replacing Gale, more than likely, just due to the nature of how her passive works. Again, you can see we're using a Ghost Usher. Again, this is to try and get the stuns rolling, so basically to get the AoE stuns rolling on the second turn. What we do, generally speaking, is target at least the AGL unit with hit. This is so that we can hopefully remove at least one unit, and then we also obviously try our best to seal up someone that's a threat. So with Vardos is great. Vardos is a great support unit. She provides a nice range of support to the entire rotation, but also she provides some good sealing. So we're going to use her to help seal up the int unit generally. Again, int units are quite devastating to our lineup, just due to their inherent nature of obviously having that type advantage. So generally speaking, we do try to obviously control where we are going to receive those attacks and who's going to be able to super attack us, because that is also quite important. So yeah, obviously we activate some items, keep ourselves safe. Hit doesn't have great defense before he fires off his super attack, so you're going to have to be aware of that to a certain point, because otherwise you're going to end up in a bad situation. Obviously we got the AoE stun, which again is a crucial element of our ability to run this stage. The AoE stun is highly crucial to our ability to gain control over this fight, because a lot of stages here you're fighting multiple enemy types, so being able to control and remove those enemy types, save on items, but more importantly basically eliminate at least one unit per turn because of a hit is very, very crucial to how everything kind of gets put together. So yeah, that's the general design behind everything. As you can see, now what we're going to do, we're just going to throw out a Princess Snake, throw out an Icarus, kind of give us that one turn of 65% damage reduction, and then use that ability to try and again just eliminate an enemy. We save some items for the final run. You can see there, hit taking 34k. His defense at start of turn is not huge, but his defense after he attacks is very, very good. So as you can see, finishing off Gohan, just getting rid of him, just getting him out the picture, sealing up Goku, and now things are looking a lot better. We're looking a lot in control. We still have the 35% or so Icarus damage reduction next turn, which is very good. So yeah, we are making some good progress. We're managing to keep control of the fight. We've got them down to 2 enemies, and things are looking a lot better. Obviously, in a tight spot, we'll use someone like Tech Caulifla to hopefully evade the enemy, if we need her to evade the enemy, to just provide some kind of defensive security. Also, to essentially just give us some last chance options. But for the most part, we are fine. Like, generally speaking, we're not, I want to say, too, hindered or anything. I think there's enough room for error here. I do think, overall, as a kind of stage, you are probably going to need to be aware and try and be, obviously, affected and, weary of how things essentially can go wrong for you. So just remember which unit can take a super attack, which unit can't, especially where the type disadvantage opportunities are. You want to focus on eliminating those with hit. So with hit, you will really want to try and control and just prevent having these big kind of type disadvantage situations. You can use his overall kind of strength and stunning and control capabilities to really keep the enemy from having those advantage situations. Now, fortunately, the final fight is where things get a little bit better. The final fight, you essentially actually have advantage because you're only facing 2 enemies, although very strong enemies, but because you're only facing 2 enemies, your strength relying on the stunning works in your favor, especially if you have the sealing capabilities. You can kind of split them like I am on the first turn, just giving you the general ability to really control how things are going and to stop anything too bad happening. What you want to do though is you want to try and focus down one of the units. So you want to try and get the stun off with hit, get the stun off on Whis. Brilliant follow-up attack as well, which is obviously fantastic. Does a huge amount of damage, which is great. So we get big damage done to Whis. And then hopefully what you can do is you can get the follow-up kill in the next turn. And this leaves you with only Dbz left, which is great. Obviously he has type advantage against a large portion of our team, but with the amount of stuns, seals, and just general control we have, we should be relatively okay. Although we do obviously seal up Dbz, this is just to prevent any super attacks, to stop any kind of bad timings on super attacks, and just to try and keep us going into another turn with full health, which is very important to a certain extent, because again it does just allow us to have some very good control over the fights and over the fight situation. Now hit will again do some pretty big damage because of his ability to stun, and we've also got the Kefla. Kefla is going to provide some pretty good capabilities here. She's going to really be able to kind of control up and deal up some good damage to Dbz as well. So we've got her involved, and just in general we have a pretty good situation. Now ideally hit would have got a additional there, just so we could obviously eliminate Whis completely, but it's okay, because at the end of the day we've done a significant amount of damage to him, and we're sitting in a pretty good situation. Kefla also decides that she's going to go off pretty nicely here, which I think overall she does very well. Her defense lowering combined with multiple super attacks really does take quite a knock out of the enemies. You can see her here really kind of popping off and just doing half a bar of damage to Dbz, which is really good. It sets us up nicely for the next turn, also means we've done some damage to him. And yes, although obviously Whis is still around, which is apparent, we do get the AoE stun. So immediately we are in still a pretty decent situation, which is good. Now you can see at this point you kind of have to choose what to do. I go for hitting Dbz, mainly because of the fact that we're going to get the Dokkan attack, which will secure us the win. But also I went for Dbz because should the Dokkan attack fail to succeed, should we run into issues or not have the damage to kill him, generally speaking, what we do is we essentially then have the chance to stun up Dbz as well, which is very important, because obviously going into next turn, if we can carry our stun over, then we don't have to worry about Dbz too much. But yeah, we obviously get the kill with the Dokkan attack, which is fine. And yeah, that's it. That is Universe 6. Hit is very much a hard carry to the run. Everyone else is kind of an auxiliary option to either finish off enemies or to provide whatever control they can, or to be kind of a last minute saloon kind of victory unit. So that's it. Was a pretty fun stage. I think it is quite challenging. If you don't have a hit, it will definitely be a lot more challenging, I think, but you could get very lucky with the AoE stuns and you should be fine. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.